Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of A Happy Moment. My name is Dan, and I'm glad to have you with me today. Today, I do have a very special guest with me to talk about the band Lesbian Bed Death. Sophie, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, Sophie. As I mentioned, Sophie is here, and we're going to talk about Lesbian Bed Death. We're going to be doing a countdown of our favorite songs and also just some general chat about the band. But before we begin, Sophie, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a goth. Uh, I found Lesbian Bed Death when I was looking for more LGBTQ focused gothic music, and I've been a fan of them for a little while now. I've been to see them live 3 times. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. And for those who might be new to the show, just real quickly, my name is Dan. Hello. And I do my podcast primarily about horror movies, books, fantasy books, gaming, wrestling, cryptids, paranormal, anything nerdy or spooky, basically. Once again, thanks for joining us, and let's get started with our list here. Sophie, do you want to start off with your number 10, or do you want me to start?
I can start if you want. Like the later entries aren't in a too much of a particular order, but once we get to about 4, that's when it gets pretty ordered. So my first
Okay.
one is She Sells Hand Grenades. I think that's from Evil Never Dies. Also a
Yeah.
great
Okay.
song. I love that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a good choice. I've got "Son of a Thousand Maniacs" for number 10.
Yes,
Um,
that one's good.
yeah, but like there were so many tracks like I was trying to squeeze into the top 10, but I should have done like a top 20 or something to make it easier, but
Yeah,
uh
I've got a playlist. It's really long of just my favorite ones.
and then I'm just going to jump straight into number 9 here. For number 9, Sophie, I have Reykjavik Nights off the newest album, Midnight Lust. um I just
Yeah.
think it's a really cool song. And what have you got for number 9?
For number 9, I have Soul Sucker.
Oh,
It's
okay.
from Riot of the Living Dead, and
Yeah.
that's just it's just one of those ones that I like playing when I'm like angry, and
Yeah.
I'll just play it and be angry.
Very cool. Now, was it on the computer or like through a friend that you discovered the band?
Yeah, so I found it through a friend. We were talking about just when I was first getting into like goth music and other like alternative kind of sounds, and she was like, "Oh, I know you're really gay, so here's the gay goth band, basically." Um, so yeah, that was
Okay.
quite a experience.
Oh, that's more interesting than me. I'd say it probably was around 2013, maybe. I was just uh, streaming music on YouTube, and um, the band came up, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool, and that's how I started listening to them. Um, I mentioned I'm a big fan of horror movies, and this band seemed to fit perfectly with that, and been listening to them ever since.
Yeah, I recently listened to the original version of Goth Girls Are Easy, like the first recording of it. It's still on YouTube, you can find it, but it's like it's it it's a product of its time, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, is it different than the one that's on the album?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
I think it was still only recorded by 2 people, and in like a random flat in London. I think. Just reading from
Okay, that's
their
cool.
website. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. I have to check it out. Sophie, what have you got for number 8?
Roadkill, because
Oh, that's
that's from the new album as well. It's another one that I listen to it a lot. Just it's really good background noise for a lot of the games that I play as well. I play a lot of Destiny and have started playing Cyberpunk again. So I've put together a Cyberpunk playlist, and it's got a lot of Lesbian Bed Death on there.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I love that song. That's a great choice. For number 8, I have uh, Death by Stereo.
I
And
love Death by Stereo.
yes. It's like every song that's mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, I love that song. But I mean, there are really so many good ones. Um, you mentioned that you've seen the band 3 times live. Is that right?
Yes. So the third time was actually, I think, only 17 days ago. Like, 'cause I've still got it in my phone.
Okay. And what's your experience been like at the concerts?
Oh, great. I've loved it every single time. They've all been quite recent. Um, it's all been the Midnight Lust tour, basically. And
Okay.
it was just so fun. On the most recent one, they were touring with Aurelio Voltaire as well. So that was really interesting. And yeah, I just loved them, seeing them every single time, because the first one that I went to was quite small. It felt really personal, and that was really nice.
Did you have a chance to meet them?
Yes, I did. We talked basically after the first one. I think I talked to them a little bit, and then the second one, um, we talked quite a lot, and the third one, it was it was the most recent one, so I should remember it the most. But we took more photos, I think, on the most recent one with some of the people, and I asked JJ to help me record a little intro for the YouTube video that I'm making. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a great time. Very cool.
Yeah,
Um,
they're really cool people.
I'm over here in the States, so unfortunately, I've never been to one of the shows. I did have them on my podcast in 2022. So I was before JJ joined. But I that was a pretty cool moment for me, but it was also very scary because I had just started my podcast earlier that year, and I made a rookie mistake. So everyone that I had interviewed up to that point, I had talked to them from their computer. So I didn't even think to ask if they would be joining from a computer or a phone, and they were joining from a phone, and it wasn't working the way that I had set things up. So I'm like freaking out, but they were really cool about it, and they suggested using, I think it's called WhatsApp on the phone, and so that's how
Yeah,
we did it. But like they really saved me there, and like they had just got done rehearsing like a 5 hour rehearsal or something, and they were out on the streets and it looked like it was cold and windy, but they still had the patience to sit with me through that, and so it ended up being really cool. I was freaking out inside, but they saved the day for me, so that was pretty neat. But yeah, they're
nice.
definitely cool people. Sophie, what have you got for number 7?
I have Drag Me to Hell. That's Evil Never
Oh,
Dies.
that's yeah, another great one.
Yeah, I like the ones with a lot of
I
repetition in as well.
Okay,
Like that.
that was one I was really trying to squeeze into my list, but I couldn't do it. There's so many other good ones I had to try and get in there. But yeah, love Drag Me to Hell. It's a good one. Um, my number 7, I've got Drowning uh, off the
That's
film.
one of the ones I'm not listened to, or at least I haven't listened to it for a long time.
Okay, it's just something a little bit different than what they usually do. But just I think it's really enjoyable to listen to, and uh, I like it when there's a band that you like, and they're not afraid to do things outside of what they normally do.
Yeah,
Usually
change
has
things.
Yeah, usually makes for some pretty good results.
Oh, I remember it now. I'm just looking at the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, Sophie, one of the big themes of Lesbian Bed Death, of course, is horror movies. Do you have a favorite horror movie?
I'll be honest, horror movies terrify me, so I haven't watched that many of them. Or really any, to be honest. The closest movie that I've seen to a horror movie is I'm forgetting the name of it now, but it came out relatively recently. It was a year or two ago now, I think. Well, probably more than that. But it was about this like robot girl thing that somebody made, and she goes ballistic basically and starts killing a bunch of people. And I was like almost crying by the end of it.
That was just recently.
Yeah. Oh, that Megan, I think was,
Okay, I
but it
was
had
just
like a
say Megan.
3
Oh,
in the.
great.
Yeah, I think it's more of a thriller, but it's it freaked me out a bit, which I suppose is what it's supposed to do.
Right, right. Yeah, I've heard of it, but never watched it. I haven't watched too many newer horror movies myself. Um, my favorite's The Thing, um, from 1982, I believe. John
Nice.
Carpenter movie. It's a good one. I also like a lot of classic horror,
I should definitely
but
watch some more stuff.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if it scares you, I mean, don't scare yourself too much.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for me, that's one of the appeals of horror movies, I guess, is that it's fun to be scared as long as you know that the threat isn't real. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Sophie, for number 6, I've got The Witching Hour off of the Witching Hour album. Uh,
I love that one.
just a great song, yeah. What have you
Yeah.
got for 6?
For 6, I have Hellraiser. That's
Oh, yeah.
from Born to Die on VHS, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good song. And that actually kind of answers the next question I had, and that is, what is your favorite cover song?
Yeah. Yeah, it yeah, that would be it.
Okay, yeah, Hellraiser's a good one. Um, I yeah, Born to Die in VHS. There's a lot of good ones on there. Mine would be Lost in the Shadows, from the Lost Boys. Uh,
Yes. I don't listen to that one a lot, but when I do, it always like catches me off guard in like that good kind of way when you're like, "Oh yeah, I really like this song."
yes, 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 very good. Um, yeah, Lesbian Bed Death. They do good cover songs. I
Yes,
can't
there was
think of
another
can't.
one um that I don't think I can remember off the top of my head. Um but I do remember like finding out that it was a cover and then really like thinking it was better than the original.
Yeah, they do cover songs really well. There's definitely a lot of good ones out there. There's
Yeah.
a tough one
I'm
to
trying to
answer.
find it now because I'm
Was
annoyed
it
that I
on
can't
Born to Die on
remember it.
VHS or somewhere else?
I'll be honest, I can't remember. I just remember listening to it and then finding out that it was a cover,
Okay,
and I probably won't be able to find it because I have so many of the songs saved.
right. No problem. Well, Sophie, while you're looking for that, what have you got for number 5?
For number 5, I believe, if I have another look on my list, we have the original song, which is Goth Girls Are Easy. Because
Okay,
that was the first song of theirs that I'd listened to. It's their most popular one, I think, from Spotify at least.
okay.
And yeah, it was just the first thing that I'd listened to because when I was first introduced to them, it was on Spotify. So I just basically clicked on the first song that I saw, and, it kind of like kept going from there. And I just kept listening to all their songs in like 2 nights. It was really cool. Just going through and favoriting all the ones that I liked.
Yeah, that's a great song, and um, like I think it just fits the overall vibe of the band so well. Yeah, very good. Um, and so for my number five, I have Bela Lugosi's Back. So
Yes,
it's another great song.
I actually have a story about that song.
Oh, please
Um,
tell.
so I was listening to like my I've got a playlist called Vampiric Lesbianism, and it's just full of like goth and like metal and a few other like bits that wouldn't really fit anywhere else. And I got the song Bela Lugosi's Dead by I think that's The Cure that did that one. Is it? I'm gonna the goths are gonna murder me if I got this wrong.
I I think wasn't there a song by that name from
Oh, it's Bauhaus, not The
Bauhaus?
Cure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of the big ones. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But I got that song on Spotify, and then right after it, I got Bela Lugosi's Back, and I'm like, this is the perfect combination of songs to have together because it's like, oh, now he's dead and now he's alive again, which I just thought was very funny.
That's awesome. uh, do you have a favorite music video?
Um, for music videos, I'm gonna say probably Goth Girls Are Easy still because it was the first one I saw again, and I kind of have a cheat answer for this, and it's my unofficial one that I made for James. I did like an anime music video of it for Bakugan, which
Oh,
is a series I used to be into.
okay,
So
that's
yeah,
cool. Very nice. I am a big fan of the Mummy's Tomb video, and that's another one that was hard to leave off of my top 10 list. The Mummy's Tomb, but yeah, I really
yes,
enjoyed the video because it has that old school horror vibe to it, which I'm a big fan of. Love the
yeah.
classics.
The
So
Antichrist is like a big second for me as well because that music video is really cool with like the snakes.
right, yeah, uh, they have a lot of good videos too. Um, it's just as just as difficult to choose a favorite video as it is to choose like the top songs. It's all very challenging. Sophie, what have you got for number four?
For number four, I have to check now because these ones are actually in order.
Okay.
Um, I think it is. If I can find it, I'll remember. I think yeah, the Antichrist is my number four, and that was my favorite song for a very long time. But it's
Okay.
been beaten out a few times now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I've got for number four. I have uh, "Roadkill." It's a
Yeah,
great song. That was on your list too.
yeah.
"Roadkill's" a great song, and um, just a really rocking tune. I really enjoy that. Uh, Sophie, do you have a favorite album?
Okay, in general, album wise, probably the newest one, Midnight Lust, just because of the connection I have to it from like the tours, and it's the first one that I saw come out because I got into like the band just before the album came out, and I was kind of annoyed because I didn't get to pre-order it. So yeah, that's
uh,
probably my favorite album.
okay. Uh, Man, this was a tough one for me. It's it's really close between the first one and the last one, actually. I probably have to lean towards um, Midnight Lust. It's just from top to bottom, it's just a really good album. A lot of quality songs on there. Uh,
Yeah.
it's Man, but like I said, it was tough. It's tough. There's so many good ones.
Yeah, I
Um,
think there's a lot of consistency with Midnight Lust as well. Like the songs are like consistently bangers on that album,
mhm. Yeah,
like even more than other ones. Even though with the other ones it's like very consistent as well with like the banger songs.
yeah, absolutely. Sophie, what have you got for number three?
For number three, I have Horrors of the Crown Hotel, which I've
Oh.
seen live 3 times now. I think because I think it's been on every set list, which I'm not complaining about.
Yeah, very cool. And also, that's another one that has a good music video for it. Uh,
Yes,
yeah,
I've never
definitely.
actually fully watched the music video for that. I've only seen parts of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely check it out when you have a chance.
Yeah, I've never been able to fully watch it, which is a shame.
So number three, I have "Goth Girls Are Easy." Uh,
I love that song so much.
yes, yes, it's so good. And that, of
As
course,
a
would be
goth
the
girl, that's great.
yeah. That's the one from the album because I never heard the one that you mentioned of, but I'm definitely gonna look that up later and check it out.
Yeah, it's very like very early 2000s like band in like a garage setup. Like that's the kind of vibes that it gives, and I love it.
Let's see. So, Sophie, was this a easy list for you, or did you find it to be quite challenging?
It was really hard. So like the top like 3 or 4 were really easy because like I've got like my favorite song is really set in stone and my second favorite song is really set in stone. Apart from that, like it's quite difficult because I like a lot of them equally a lot of the time. I used to really like despise, not despise, but I really didn't like The Devil's Bounty Hunters, just the whole album. Like when I started listening to them, I just didn't really like it. So I just didn't listen to it for a really long time. And then I started listening to it and it's become one of my favorites since then.
Yeah, I first had the idea for this episode like over a year ago, so I've had a lot of time to think about my top 10. But in the minutes leading up to this, I was still shuffling songs around on there, trying to get everything just right. And it was tough. This was definitely not easy. There's so many so many difficult choices had to be made. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely a challenge for me. Um, Sophie, so we've only got a couple songs left, and this is completely optional. But if you want to take this episode into cringe territory, we've gone through it. We've gone through most of our list so far, and I just want to say, feel free to start singing any of the songs if you want to.
Oh no, I couldn't.
I'm just presenting that as an option for you. Although when I
I'm
say
not drunk
I'll make
enough.
when I say I'll make this episode cringe, I'm just speaking for myself. Maybe you're a really good singer. I don't know.
No, I'm not. I used to think I was.
All right. Well, Sophie, what have you got for number two?
It's number two used to be one of my absolute favorite songs, and it it used to be my favorite, and it got beaten out by number one like only relatively recently, and that's Chains. And I just have such a connection with that song, and I love it so much. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because my number two is Chains.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great song. Uh, I love watching the music video too, just the band jamming out. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely love
Yeah. Every
Chains.
time I've been to see them, I think they've also played Chains every single time I've been.
Oh,
And
nice.
JJ always tells the story that she used to listen to it because like she felt as if like the world was against her because her mum wouldn't buy a McDonald's, and I just thought that was really funny, and we need to get us some McDonald's at some point.
That's very cool. Sophie, we both had difficulties with our lists, and um, you know, the band has gone through several lineup changes over the years, but one thing that has always been true is that they've always maintained a high level of quality despite these lineup changes. Um, and I think that's really cool, and um, I think that speaks to how well the songs have been written too. That they all hold up so well, and no matter who's singing, like they're always putting out banger after banger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's
It's
it's really impressive because I've actually been researching like into the band's history recently for a video that I'm working on, like a little video essay going over the history of them, and like it's insane the amount of like lineup changes they've had and like fast lineup changes where they've had to like adapt quickly. And I think that's really impressive, especially for a band on the scale that they are and the scale that they were back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah, I just think it's really impressive, and that they're still going after that many changes. I think is really impressive as well.
yeah, definitely. And um, I think the future is pretty bright for the band too. They've also got other projects going on, like the Satan Cellar movie.
Yes,
Um,
I've been following that. I'm quite
are,
excited for that.
are you going to watch it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Uh, Sophie, would you like to share your number one movie or your number one song?
Yeah, my number one song, I play it all the time. It's quite unconventional. I don't think it has many plays compared to a lot of other songs that they have, but it's Vampires from The Witching Hour, and it is my favorite song ever.
Why do you like it so much?
So I just love it because it's a lot more goth, I think, than a lot of their other songs. It's very like traditional goth, in my opinion at least, because there's no real description of what goth is or sounds like really. But to me, it just sounds a lot more goth than a lot of their other songs, and I enjoy a lot of other goth music, so it would make sense that my favorite band doing my favorite style would be my favorite song,
Yeah,
and it has
absolutely.
vampires in it.
Yes, can't go wrong with vampires. And again, another great choice. Uh, for my number one, I use my powers for evil. That was
Yes,
that was
I love that song.
the very first song that I heard. That's what introduced me to the band, and I just loved it ever since. It's it's an amazing song, great video too. Uh, just a lot of fun, and yes, I'm halfway tempted to start singing it, but I'm going to spare everybody.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
a funny story about that song as well.
oh, please share.
So I do a lot of weird, like nerdy things. One of the things that I do is make custom 3DS themes. That's like backgrounds basically for your 3DS, but they can have music as well. So I've been making Lesbian Bed Death themes uh, for all the different albums, and I was doing the one for that album, and I use my powers for evil. I'm pretty sure I did manage to get it working, but I remember the audio just giving me the hardest time compared to all the others for some reason, because you have to edit it quite a lot to get it to work on a 3DS. Um, I just remember that one taking me a long time compared to the others. But in the end, it sounded good. Like the audio quality was the best that I could squeeze out of a like almost I think 15-year-old system now, or probably older than that. I'm not sure how old the 3DS is now.
Pretty old, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never
12
had
years
one, but I
old.
had. Oh, okay. So, yes. That's not too old then.
Yeah, but still,
That's
trying to
very
get it to
cool.
run on those speakers is hard.
Yeah, I bet.
But it did work.
Awesome, awesome, very cool. Uh, Sophie, um, what do you think of the like going forward for Lesbian Bed Death? Is there anything like any themes that you would like to see them explore that they haven't already?
Um, this is like completely personal to me and like very like this. These are like my personal wishes, but like a dip into like more goth, like they have with vampires, or even like just to try like the dark wave. I've been listening to a lot of that recently, and I feel like if they tried it, they could pull it off really well. Um, there's a few songs that I'd love to have like see them cover as well, but they're quite obscure, so I wouldn't know if they would. But like, I have my dreams.
Like, what's an example of one of the songs you'd like to see them cover?
There's a song by a band called All About Eve. The song's called Phased, and it's like up there on my favorite like songs of all time. And I think just with the like the voices and the talent that they've got, I feel like they could make it sound like quite different from the original, but still like really good in like its own way, which I think would be really fun. But it's
Okay,
quite an obscure song.
okay. Oh, hey, maybe they'll listen to this episode and they'll hear you say that and they'll be like, "Hey, that's we'll have to look into that. It's not a bad idea." You never
That would
know.
be great.
Oh man, but I don't know about you, but and I'm really excited for the future of this band. I think we both talked about how great Midnight Lust is, and I can't wait for the next album. I just think this band is just gonna keep going upward from here, and I'm really excited to see where the future takes them.
Yeah, so am I. I can't wait because when the next album comes out, um, it'll be the first time I'll be able to like properly hype myself up for it and hopefully pre-order if that's the thing that they do, and then hopefully I'll get this package arrive in the mail and like have new music to listen to before everybody else. And yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, they did pre-orders for the last two albums, so I'm sure
Yeah, I saw
would do it
people were
again.
getting them before they released the music on Spotify and I was super jealous.
Yeah, it's I haven't heard any talk of a new album yet, but hopefully there's one in the works.
I've heard some things of like I don't know if this is completely correct, but maybe some new music being produced for Satan's Cellar. So maybe that's a full album. Maybe it's like part of an album, but like a soundtrack album would be so cool
Yeah,
to see from them.
yeah, and one other thing I want to mention is with these last two albums, Midnight Lust and The Witching Hour, uh, I'm I'm a big fan of the the style of art they're doing for their covers. I think those two are really great.
Yeah, I love those. I change my profile pictures on Discord pretty often, but it was the the Gorgon from Midnight Lust for a very long time.
I know they posted somewhere on social media like over the summer maybe that they only had a few shirts left for I think it was the Midnight Lust album cover, and I looked into that, but they were all too big for me, so I missed out on that. But I'm gonna keep
I
my
do
eye out
actually
next
have one
time.
of those.
Do you? Or did you be at one of the shows?
Yeah,
Ah, very
yeah, I don't
awesome.
have it on, but I do have one. I also have the I don't know what it's called, but it's like the album art they've been using to promote the Midnight Lust tour. It's got like a red outline. It's like a skeleton. I've got a
Hmm.
t-shirt with that on it as well.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. Uh, man, just uh, Lesbian Bed Death, such a great band. Um, And I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot in this episode when I say that, but uh, they're so good. And um, yeah, I look forward to keeping an eye on them in the future. And also, I just want to say, Lesbian Bed Death, to all the present and past members, thank you very much for doing what you do. Um, it's it's really awesome, and I love all your work. Sophie, do you have any final words you'd like to add for the band?
Yeah, I just think keep going, keep exploring new sounds. Like, I mean, I know you already do. I've spoken to some, I've spoken to some of them. So, yeah, thank you so much. It's really fun. It's quite calming as well. Weirdly, for a band with this sound to be calming, but yeah, rock on, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And Sophie, we're gonna wrap things up here. Um, do you have any? Would you like to mention your YouTube channel at all that you're working on?
Yeah,
It's not
so
out yet, but
yeah, I have a YouTube channel. There's one video uploaded currently, which is my Chains anime video. It's Ventus Kazami, VentuskAzami, and it's basically a goth channel, or it will be, where I just post whatever I feel like through gothic lens and, like, hopefully a gothic lifestyle that I'm trying to build for myself. And there is a video that I'm working on. It's quite a big video, so it's taking a long time. But it's the history of lesbian bed death and a little bit of a story of like my experience with them.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Uh, well, best of luck to you with that. And do you have any social media handles that you want to share?
Yeah, so all I'm Ventus Kazami on all social medias. If if you type that into Instagram or wherever you get social media nowadays, I should come up if I'm on there, and if I'm not, probably I'm not going by anything else. So that
Okay.
is that's pretty much all I go by online. So
Sure,
yeah.
sure. And I'll throw some links into the description of this episode to help people find you. And
Oh,
uh,
brilliant. Thank you.
Sophie, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join me. It's been great chatting about lesbian bed death with you.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
All right, and I'd like to thank everyone who listens to this episode. If you'd like to learn more about my podcast, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and no longer Twitter. I gave up on Twitter, but I did join Blue Sky, and it's pretty nice over there. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.